Ramblin Jesters, and you're watching Rugby Wrap Up.
I don't want to say that I'm easy, but if you send me a hat and a shirt, you're getting on the show. Coming up next on Rugby Wrap Up, Director of Rugby and co-founder of the New England Free Jacks, Alex Magleby, Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, and David Barry, the owner of the Ramblin Jesters. Rugby Wrap Up brought to you in part by the Pig and Whistle, the world's best rugby pub, the Murphy Kennedy Group, founded with the idea that construction can be done better, and Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Rugby Wrap Up. Matt McCarthy in Midtown Manhattan talking rugby. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to our guests today. My good friend, Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, calling in from Nova Scotia, and Mr. Alexander Magleby, the co-founder and director of rugby of the New England Free Jacks and USA Rugby legend. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's welcome Mr. Magleby first. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Matt.
Bryan, how jealous are you of that shirt that he is wearing? I got this.
I was just going to say I came woefully underprepared to deal with the unbelievable shirt we've got, Alex, there. And I have to say that the Eagle shirt, Kyle Sequeira, on are just shining through the screen from your chest there, Matt.
What? What?
The Kyle is the Eagle's
truly glorious.
And so now at least he can be with us.
You know, I wasn't going to do a show this week. I was going to take the week off and collect my marbles, but I got a package from the Free Jacks, and I know that we just had your fellow co-owner and chairman of the board of directors, Eric Anderson, on last week. But when you send me this shirt, this hat, and some Free Jacks IPA, ladies and gentlemen, this is the formula to get on Rugby Wrap Up. I don't care. This is it right here. Simple, cool shirt, great hat, bald guy, and beer. Irish guy. How you doing? Here's to the Free Jacks.
How do you like the Free Jacks IPA? It's Strata hops.
I love it. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. And we do have a surprise guest that you are or have worked with in the past that's going to come on in just minutes. He's in our waiting room right now. But, Alex, just a quick note. I want to say that you have Justin Johnson, Jack Miller, Tom Brusati, Spencer Kruger. None of them went to Dartmouth.
It's a great crew. We're really excited to have them. They're going to be fantastic. We're really pumped up. I think the collegiate game, the landscape has changed dramatically, and you're starting to see rugby skilled athletes coming out. And so we're really excited to see their transition into the professional game. You know, for some that may be a 3 to 6 month transition, and for some that may be 18 months. But that we're really excited to help them continue their journey in rugby.
Two of them were your first ever Major League Rugby draft picks. Johnson went at 6th, and then you took Kruger in the second round. Kruger's a big boy.
Yeah, he sure is, and he did a little bit of time down in New Zealand. Did exceptionally well, and in our due diligence, we found that he just in all aspects of his life, he works hard. He does good things. So we're really excited to have him, and we're fortunate, and especially with JJ, that we were able to get him. You know, he's a really talented footballer and just a great human. He was Phi Beta Kappa and all sorts of other things at Life U. You know, he's already lined up a job in the real world, and he's just he's a grinder, and we're fortunate to get him at 6.
So that begs the question you brought up. He got a job in the real world. This is the reality that faces this league right now. You have a 6th pick out of the college draft. And, you know, what Americans are across the board in an American professional sport is saying, oh, he's got generational wealth as a 6th pick in a league draft, right? But this kid's got to go get a job.
Yeah, I think that was a choice he made, right? But obviously you guys understand our salary cap and that it's, you know, tied to a long-term growth strategy. And the vast majority of professional sports in the United States, most people who played pro sports for the vast majority of the time frame that we've had, you know, pro sports over the 20th century, they did other things, right? And it took a long time for the products to mature into the entertainment behemoths they are. And so there's a lot of revenue that comes from that. And we're really just starting this journey, and we want to make sure we do it safely so that we're here in 100 years.
And doing things safely is the trend, obviously, because we're under this pandemic or under the bubble that is the pandemic. But I'm just noticing you guys are having summer camps.
We are. We're Massachusetts obviously was really hit, just like New York, and our state leadership and throughout New England really made some tough decisions early on, and people for the most part stuck with those. And so we're coming out of that a little bit right now. We're in phase 3 in Massachusetts, so we can do very light, individualized type training. We have 10 people in a unit at once, but we do temperature checks. They're not doing contact, multiple balls that are being disinfected. There's no tackling. Kids are in face masks. The coaches are in face masks. So it's very much light stuff for now. And hopefully we continue to progress and the rest of the country gets out of some areas are in some difficult situations right now. And hopefully we come out of that. But certainly we're able to teach and learn right now on the field. And that's really good. We ran a virtual academy as soon as we had to suspend and then cancel the season. We had over 1,000 participants. 600 kids were part of the Learn to Play initiatives and other initiatives we did online. We would have never done that as a company right now, like learn to be a bit more savvy virtually, had we not kind of run into the buzzsaw of canceling a season. What that allowed us to do is learn some things that we otherwise wouldn't have right now in our own evolution. So we're excited about that, and now it's great to start leveraging that up into more opportunities to learn the game and then hopefully compete in the not-too-distant future.
And in the not-too-distant future, I hear that there is a podcast in your sights.
Yeah, I think, again, part of who we are, we are an entertainment company. Our goal is eventually to be a global sports entertainment organization. And there's multiple prongs to that. And we want to be able to, you come for 2 to 3 hours on a Saturday and it's a great time with your family or with your buddies. And this great respite from working hard all week and other things. And we want to be able to be that for 30 seconds on your weekdays too. And have that and be able to provide that same feeling to our fans and our community. So that's what we're setting out to do and trying different verticals. And we'll be announcing 3 to 4 podcasts here pretty shortly.
You guys had actually done really well in your ticket push hitting. And is there almost a positive to that and kind of saying, maybe we can almost expand our seating plans that we had or even maybe looking at a bigger venue? I know you're limited in some respects at Union Point, so I don't know if you're staying there or not, but has it given you, any pause to rethink what you were doing with that and maybe push a little further, be more ambitious?
Yeah, so let's just say the COVID experience wasn't still present. Certainly we would have plans to be able to continue to build. Of our 1,200 founding members, only 2 were in a position where they had to get a refund, and they're all moving on to 2021, which is fantastic, right? And that's a really good base to grow with, and I think that speaks volumes to not only our sport and what our region has wanted, and per capita probably more rugby players than the rest of the country. A lot of universities play, and just very rich history of men's and women's rugby in New England. But that the experiences that we provided a little bit in the exhibition season and putting a little flame to that and making that bigger and better was part of what we were looking to do. And now we have a whole runway, a whole year effectively to even make that better. Now, what I'm in the process of, and we just had a board meeting the other day, is, okay, let's look at all the possible iterations, right? So just competition, no attendance, right? How do we manage that? Okay, competition, but attendance may be like what the Patriots may end up doing this fall, 20% capacity. What is capacity? What is 20% then? Distancing, pods of 10 or less. How do you put the pods together? How do you treat your season ticket holders with the reverence they deserve for when they bought their tickets, and now that you may have to change seating. But right now the plan is to certainly keep the structure that we had built out and then actually augment that with some additional opportunities for different festival hangout type areas that we're really excited to build out.
One of the kind of barbs fired by the Raptors when they announced their decision to pull out was that they felt MLR wasn't developing American players as much. Certainly we had lots of feedback on that. I wanted to get kind of your thoughts on this. What's your impression been of not only the American players in the 3 years that MLR has been going, but also within the Free Jacks themselves, just through the exhibition series that you guys had, and then the limited run that you had this year before the season was canceled? I mean, you had some young American players, and Quentin Newcomer comes to mind. Danny Collins, I thought he did pretty well. Have you seen dramatic increases in those guys even in that short amount of time?
Yeah, those players would not be in that kind of chasing national team bubble perspective had there not been opportunities to play the game on a regular basis where they could be paid to do it, so they didn't have to work another job as often. They were in basically a full-time training environment. Those opportunities, we didn't have many of those in the United States a few years ago, right? There were a couple of universities that do a really good job of creating really high-quality quasi full-time environments to learn, right? We all know the list of those great schools that do a really good job of that, but that's even limited to 20 hours a week and that kind of thing. Now to provide that across the country in multiple areas so that the volume of opportunities has really increased. And once you increase the pool, it's opportunities for needles in the haystack to rise up, as opposed to trying to, perhaps that Olympic Commonwealth type model where let's find the best 17-year-old, invest in that 17-year-old, and let's really see them be, world champions at 23. That is a very hard equation to get right. So traditional American sports, vis-a-vis the scholastic model, let's increase the volume, let's increase opportunity, and the best will rise in that situation as long as there's opportunity.
You talk about the players rising and coming out of obscurity if you have that expanded scenario. You got a guy behind you there that came out of nothing. That's Nate Ebner. Is he your Bastereau? Is he your Nanu? Is he your Rob Shaw? Are you set to make an announcement that you made a deal with the New York Giants to get Mr. Ebner to play for you?
Fantastic. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Because Nate not only would be a fantastic player on the field, but the way Nate carries himself, he's such a professional. That's what we saw with the U.S. Come 2016 when he was chasing the Olympic dream. It's just his everyday behaviors are so high quality that would really be. That would really impact the program in a really, really positive, healthy way. We're fortunate that Nate's involved. Nate's one of our co-owners. But right now he's chasing football and he's doing a tremendous job at that. Long career. I think he's going to his 9th year now. So, it'd be great to have Nate. But that is not an announcement I'll be making today.
We'll make it for you. Bryan, America's Rugby News, Rugby Wrap-Up, dual press release, Nate Ebner to the Free Jacks. All right, on that note, let's take a brief break, and we'll be right back with a surprise guest, Mr. Magleby and Mr. Bryan Ray. If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street. Back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News up in Nova Scotia and Mr. Alexander Magleby. All right, well, sit tight because we're about to rock your world with this very special guest coming in right now. Let's see, drum roll, please. This is none other.
What? Mr. David Barry? The Ramblin Jester himself?
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. David Barry, the owner of the Ramblin Jesters, the Rugby Town Sevens champions, current UK Super Sevens Series champs, current Scandinavian Sevens champs, men's and women. They've got an impressive roll of honor that we'll get to. He is also now one of your partners.
Yes, a brilliant partner he is. It's so funny. I'd been emailing with him. I needed his advice on a couple of things. So fantastic. David, how are you? Welcome.
I'm really good. Calling in from London. The country with the second worst debt rate for COVID in the world at the moment, unfortunately. So,
a lot of people might not know this. The Ramblin Jesters and the New England Free Jacks have formed a partnership, and Mr. Barry is also now part of the ownership group. Bryan, this is a combination of great kits
I'll tell you what, I was mentioning before the show that I think the Free Jacks are winning in the kit design department, and MLR kind of running away, but to have the Jesters in as well, I mean, what do you say? That's just a picture perfect meeting between those two forces. I mean, look at the exquisite background behind Mr. Barry there.
She'll be adding the collar now to the Jesters kit.
Oh, perfect.
The collar is de rigueur.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Based on collar rights. That was it. It was just collar rights. It was just colors.
Collar rights. You guys are great. Let's get away from the jesting and let's get down to the nitty gritty, guys. Alex and David, tell me about how this partnership is going to work. I mean, sevens players playing 15s. Come on.
We were talking earlier about opportunities, and this provides a great opportunity for more athletes, women and men, in the New England area to get chances to play at a really high level. And the best coaches in the world are almost invariably other players, and to have the chance to be with a fantastic touring squad where you have some legitimately amazing players, and our budding players in New England to get a chance to compete in pressure-filled environments with significantly talented and experienced players is a big opportunity. So for us, from a New England side, was the really important piece to it.
There's some massive quality at the Free Jacks as well. There are guys who played on the World Series as part of the squad. So I wouldn't say it was just a development opportunity for us. We were going to pick up some really hot talent. If it hadn't been for COVID, we would have gone back to Rugby Town Sevens to defend our championship with probably a new title, the Free Jack Jesters. And we would have probably had Bowden Waka and Douai and Warwick Lammert and a few others in that squad.
Is the rumor accurate that you guys merged, Alex, that you reached out to the Jesters because of Greg O'Shea and his 1.1 million Instagram? 1.6 million Instagram followers.
And I was like, that's fantastic. We need to figure out a way that where Free Jacks are supported on that medium. So that's.
I was explaining to Matt that a Jesters player is the most popular rugby player in the world, which he couldn't believe, but indeed he is because he won Love Island.
Would you have any interest in pushing the league towards some kind of a preseason? We've seen like the Super Sevens or the Premiership Sevens, that kind of thing. On MLR, maybe a tournament, maybe two, with the Ramblin Jesters competing in that as well.
Well, I think it's a fantastic idea. And can you imagine? Let's take it back to Glendale. They may have exited, but talk about the perfect neutral location for a sevens tournament in Rugby Town. And how cool it would be to get all of the 13, maybe 14 MLR teams involved. And having had a little bit of a chat with Mike Friday, we might sprinkle in some fairy dust and get the Eagles there as well. And imagine drafting the Eagles. So I'll pick Perry Baker as pick 1, I'll pick Carlin Oz as pick 2. And sprinkle them among the teams. How cool would that be? I think there'd be real interest from NBC and ESPN and possibly even Sky Sports over here. It would be a fantastic showcase for the MLR. And also, I think sevens provides an incredible opportunity for players to build their skills. So sevens players playing 15s, of course, the best rugby players in the world are sevens players.
But how would that jive with your Jesters being an official pathway to Ireland's rugby sevens team?
So we are supportive of not just Ireland, but also the USA Eagles. We've had 5 or 6 of the Eagles play for us at various times this year, and we're going to give them some more opportunity. We've also given England some opportunity. Waiting to get a relationship with Canada, and we'll hopefully do that in due course. But we're multinational, and we'll jest anywhere.
So you're equal opportunity jesters.
You're right.
Right up my alley. Bryan, they've got the likes on their honor roll of Ellis Genge. Could he be? Is this the breaking story that he is going to be on the Free Jacks?
Yeah, we hear something's coming up pretty soon, August 1st, some kind of an announcement. Maybe Mr. Magleby could fill us in, but yeah, that would be quite something to see one of those guys in. coming over. You got some amazingly talented players. Is there one player who stuck out for you, David, over the years, who's played for the Ramblin Jesters, who's been kind of shining above the rest?
His 4 sons.
No. We had 3 players play in the World Cup this year, which was pretty cool. 2 English and 1 Samoan. And seeing guys go on to play 15s, we've got guys in the Premiership who started at 7s, we've got guys that said in the World Cup, and we've got American guys who've made it onto the Eagles after playing a few times. So it's very exciting, very interesting to see.
I've had the pleasure of seeing the Jesters up close and personal a number of times, and there's always those explosive talents or blossoming talents, and it would be great to be able to get, as you say, that kind of working relationship with the Eagles. But getting back to that tournament idea, lawyers get involved in everything in our society and our societies respectively, across the pond here. How would that work in terms of, okay, an ML, are these showcases before MLR matches, are you suggesting? Or would they have MLR players?
I mean, I'm suggesting that it's a tournament that happens just prior. Most pre-seasons for the MLR kicks off in November. So I'm talking about something that happens in October. And it wouldn't be too difficult, I would have thought, to bring the start of the insurance period back to cover this program. 7s is far less physical and far less risky than 15. So I can't see a big problem there. I know that the US, it's quite difficult with issues like liability, but I wouldn't see the Jesters playing in it. It's a Free Jacks. It's the MLR team with the Eagles thrown in would be the concept. And maybe Canada as well. Canada could feature in that. It would be awesome.
Matt, I think, remember, right, that provides quality entertainment. It's not a development tool, but in and of itself, it provides additional assets for, and I don't want to speak on behalf of my partners in MLR, but as a concept, that's fantastic, right? It's another opportunity for us to share our brands and bring our type of lifestyle entertainment to new fans, and continues to drive the calendar.
I think also trying to draw in American fans. When you're sitting in a stand, it's very easy to understand 7s. The athleticism of the game, the speed of the game, it's really attractive and interesting. And to do it as a forerunner for the MLR season, I think you'll pull in some fans that'll stay with the MLR as it moves into its full season. So I think it's a great idea all around.
And how about the World 7 Series calendar?
Well, that's difficult. I think it's going to be decimated in this upcoming season. And I'm really concerned from a financial basis that many of the unions will withdraw support or the levels of support that they're currently providing for the 7s programs. The USA has the fantastic Golden Eagles supporting it. I think without it, it would struggle. Other nations will need to go that way. I've been talking in Ireland about maybe they need to develop their own brand of the Golden Eagles to really give some support to the 7s program.
Have any teams reached out to the Ramblers and said, hey, we're going to have a shortage of fixtures and competitions in the build up to Tokyo next year. Can we maybe get some kind of a small mini series or even just competitive day of action or training or something with the Ramblers?
There's a Super 7 series which happens over here, and most of the nations will put a development team into that. You generally won't see the World Series players, but you'll see the next tier of players. We also get some requests from the unions can you give this guy a chance? We'd like to see this guy play. Mike Friday has done that with me. He's kind of given me a couple of people to put in Rugby Town so you could take a look at them. That will always be an opportunity. But us running a tournament, I mean, it's a possibility. We might do that, but I don't see it in the immediate future just because of travel restrictions.
Mags, what's it going to be like game day between Free Jacks and NOLA when Mr. Barry, your partner in rugby, has a son playing against him?
Good question for David, right? It'll be a great game nonetheless. So we're excited for it.
Well, my wife Maureen has said that under no circumstances is she cheering for the Free Jacks when they play NOLA. So the rest of the game she's fine.
So does that open you to cheer for the Free Jacks?
I'll be Switzerland.
Yeah, cool.
Switzerland Barry, love it. All right, gentlemen, I really appreciate you coming on with us. Mr. Alexander Magleby, Mr. David Barry, and, of course, Mr. Bryan Ray. Thank you for your time. Matt McCarthy, on behalf of these gentlemen, for Rugby Wrap-Up, signing off. And the hat's reversible. That's wicked smat.